the agenda around. My apologies for doing so, but presentation from Bike Taupo annual report, please. I see Mr. Sapford is the team leader here.
Don't you work, Rowan? Don't you work?
Thank you, Your Worship, Councillors. Reason we're here today is essentially just to, update the Council as one of our keystone funders as what we've been up to for the past 12 months. I do apologise, it is a wee bit late, but we thought it's an opportune time to come and get in front of the Council. So we've prepared a brief presentation which we'll speak to, and we'll hopefully get through that with any time for questions afterwards. I would also like to acknowledge those other members of the Bike Taupo Committee, staff and general supporters who have turned out today in support as well, which is good to see. So just running briefly over what we're going to be covering today, just a general introduction of who we are, what we look like now because we have changed a wee bit, how we're funded and what we do with this funding, and also just some highlights from the past 12 months. So, who is Bike Taupo? A lot of this you've seen before within the context of our submissions and past presentations. Obviously, our key role is to advocate for cycling in the Taupo District, as well as that we build tracks that we like to ride on at the same time, and like to get as many people into cycling as possible. You've got the presentation, so if you want to go over that, you can. So what do we look like? We've got a tiered committee structure which is evolving to meet the growing demands and priorities which have been placed on Bike Taupo these days. We've recently restructured our committee to ensure that we're in the best shape to meet those growing demands. So we are a growing organisation and we need to make sure that we are staying agile to meet those expectations as well. That's a photo of our exec committee. So we've got represent a range of cycling interests and skills, etc., which we'll try and bring to the table to maintain the momentum that Bike Taupo has got and try and also maintain the world-class outputs which we seem to be delivering at the moment. Our current structure, as you can see, we've got a series of subcommittees which report back to the exec committee. We've also got an operations arm, which is led by our operations manager, Mr. Peter Masters, who's sitting behind me here, and they've got two different teams working underneath them. One of them is focused on the build of the Great Lake Trail, the other is the Taupo tracks. We've also, as a result of some additional funding, got an admin support person whose role is to secure further funding, manage some of our Kids on Bikes programs, keep up with all the communications that we've got going at the moment as well. So how are we funded? Obviously, Taupo District Council provides a large amount of funding for us each year. New Zealand Cycleways, who are the biggest funder at the moment because they're funding the Great Lake Trail build to the tune of $2.3 million. Department of Conservation provides us some funding for admin and also for specific environmental projects and trail maintenance projects that we're doing. Rotary Taupo Moana comes to save the day occasionally, especially after storms or incidents where we lose bridges or lose tracks. We get donations online as well as through the donations boxes that we've got around town. So if you see any of those, don't forget to drop some cash in. It's all good. We get a series of grants that we apply from community, from environmental, from government sources, which keep us going. Map sales for the Great Lake Trail and for the Craters and Taupo cycle tracks. We've developed a partners program, our Partners and Friends program, which is a tiered approach to people supporting Bike Taupo, and in return they get their name and their businesses in place on our website, on the tracks, and in various media that goes out at the moment. We've had this going for a few months and we've got, I think, 15 partners on board, and that generally goes directly to our maintenance. events. We marshal events. We also manage events, and we get funding through that. We're also getting a concession through the Department of Conservation at the moment. We'll be managing concession activities on the Great Lake Trail and getting the fees associated with that. PD labour force cannot be understated. We have got gangs that work within craters. I think it's twice a week. Plus, we've got a couple of other PD staff which can operate anywhere under supervision. Our general cost to run these bike tracks each year is $100K. So that PD crew, we reckon, amounts to about $30,000 to $40,000 of work in kind. We have one supervisor, and the funding we get goes into that supervisor. They've just finished a new track which has been named after them. It's called Beagle Boys, and it's some pretty good quality work, and it's really good to see them. We had a visit from the minister, which I'll talk about soon, who was also impressed by the way that we've been utilising this PD labour force. So what do we do with this funding? As I mentioned, track maintenance is a huge part of it, but obviously the Great Lake Trail build and maintain is our key project which is going on at the moment. Craters Mountain Bike Park and Taupo River Trails build and maintenance is a large, the second I guess most financially consuming part of our work. Produce maps, we maintain our website. Kids Bike Taupo, which is a new initiative, which is partly funded by the council, and also our environmental enhancement programs. I'll just talk to that last one briefly because we'll get onto the other ones soon. Part of our philosophy is essentially improving the places that we ride on. We like to create lasting destinations or ride experiences which we want to pass on to the next generation. So the environmental enhancement bit, what may feel like a odd fit with Bike Taupo, it's a big part of what we do. If you've been to Whakaipo Bay recently, you'll see a whole series of brown pines, which is what Bike Taupo got funding to essentially poison all the pines in that reserve. Pete Masters spent the morning doing the same down by Totara Gut, which is behind Heli Seeker and Heli Star, and we're doing a lot of pest eradication through there. We've got pest traps on Great Lake Trail, and we're starting a replanting program along the Rotary Ride, as well as doing pest control as we go with the Great Lake Trail. We've also got another large wetland enhancement project we want to do on Whangamata Road, which we're just getting funding for at the moment. So as I mentioned, one of our big piece of work at the moment is the Great Lake Trail. So that's just a map of what's being built at the moment around Kinloch, the Whakaipo Bay, the Kawakawa track, and the Arako track, which comes from Whangamata Road. We get 18 to 20,000 riders a year on each of these sections. The new section, Arako, which is comes hard to point at, comes down from Whangamata Road to Kawakawa Bay, is we've had 12,000 users of that track so far this year, and this is only kind of an emerging track which people are starting to know about. So if you want to measure success, we're pretty happy with that given some of the numbers on some of the other cycle trails around New Zealand. This is the next section of the Great Lake Trail. So what is currently built is a section from State Highway 32 down to the end of Waihaha Road, and which is getting a lot of use at the moment as well. We're currently building, if you can see on the map there where it hits the lake, that's our current build site at the moment. So the team is heading out by boat each day to essentially build a track up with 100 metres of climb over the space of about basically 100 metre vertical over a very short period. So we're basically rock pinning bridges to the side of cliffs. We're doing a lot of using a lot of the rock which is already there and constructing other tracks. Again, we're not cutting any trees down which are essentially larger than that, and we're trying to work in with the environment. We're going to have about 15 to 16 bridges, I think, on that section going through waterfalls. It's going to be fairly dramatic. There's a few photos down the bottom there of the build site, And the photos at the top are of the waihaha section, which has just been completed. John Dunn, who's the chair of New Zealand, the head of the New Zealand Cycleways, recently described it when we took him over as arguably one of the best cycle trails he's ridden in New Zealand. So, which is some pretty good feedback. I also like to say that we have our landing craft, which goes out daily to take the builders and the track crew out, and happy to invite the councillors out if they want to come on a trip on that boat or a more comfortable boat. It does get a bit of water on board on a choppy day, and we're happy to take you around the build site, take you out to Kawakawa Bay, and show the other aspects of the Great Lake Trail. So if you're keen, get in touch. I'm more than happy to organise a field trip for you. Craters Mountain Bike Park and also the river trails. Again, a lot of work happening here. We're expanding those trails into a new section. We're also rebuilding after the storm damage that happened in March last year. These are paying dividends. We're getting a lot of really good exposure nationally and internationally for these trails. So I attached to the handout today an article which is in last week's Australian Mountain Bike magazine. So 4 pages of some very good advertising for Taupo, for why to come to Taupo, why to ride in Taupo. Again, that's all done generally out of community funding and developed by volunteers. Those are just with the new maps that we've produced, a wee bit more advanced than our last ones. Also a great platform again to put our partners and supporters on there. A wee bit smaller on that one, but you'll see TDC is obviously in that because that's one of the things that TDC supports us is the development of those maps. The new website, as I mentioned before, which we've recently developed, that's also going through another overhaul to get a better, make it a better platform for our partners, as well as to get donations and also other kind of financial based initiatives which we're looking at over the next 12 months, including potentially merchandising as well. One of our recent successes is Kids Bike Taupo. Again, Taupo District Council part funds this. This started in, it's been going for 8 months. We've been to 8 schools, as well as after school programs and sport waikato programs. There's some photos there taken at Kutakaupapa at Waitahanui. And in those last 8 months, we've had nearly 2,000 kids on bikes. Again, we think that's successful. So that's 2,000 kids who are hopefully getting a better appreciation for a more healthier form of transport and recreation. So Taupo District Council funds us $28,000 per annum. That went up $3,000 from last year's LTP to fund the Kids Bike Taupo. The other $25,000 that we get per year goes mainly into trail maintenance. A bit of it goes into map development and also website development and maintenance. Again, this is like to reiterate that this is some solid funding that we've relied on for many years and is essentially empowered Bike Taupo to achieve what we've been able to achieve over the last 10 years of existence. And just finally, just some highlights of what happened last year. It was a very busy last year, made more so by the storm in March and the rebuild for craters, working with forest managers and LINs as they harvested all the windfall and also being able to get in and rebuild and tidy up the tracks. As I mentioned, the Great Lake Trail got greater, the Waihaha section's completed and the Waihora section is underway. We obtained international accreditation through the International Mountain Bike Association, so silver level ride centre accreditation. There's 2 silver level ride centres in the world, 1 gold level, and 12 ride centres all up. We're the only, there's 2 ride centres in the southern hemisphere. We have pages on the IMBA website, so we're getting a fair whack of traffic through that, which is coming directly to Taupo. As I mentioned, new maps for craters and Waikato river trails. We've got a new website. A couple of months ago, we had a visit from Anne Tolley, MP, Minister Anne Tolley, and her entourage. She spent about an hour or so at Craters getting her feet quite dirty, seeing all the PD work, seeing the tracks that we've rebuilt with PD. We generally had a commitment there that she's happy to turn on the tap for more PD workers as long as we can fund the supervisors, which is great because we just cannot understate the difference that it makes having that workforce there. The Bike Taupo Partners program has been launched. The Kids Bike Taupo initiative has been launched with 1,968 kids on bikes. The Rural Road Safety Initiative, you may have seen in the paper the Road Users Group, or RUG, which has been established by Bike Taupo and Transpower, working with TDC, other heavy transport road users, etc., to try and get Taupo to be a safer place to ride and to drive. The Whakaipo Bay Poisoning Project. We've also recently commissioned an economic impact assessment on cycling, so we can actually quantify what are the actual financial benefits for cycling to the district, so we can actually measure what some of our initiatives and events, etc., what difference it makes to the local economy. Unfortunately enough for the likes of TDC and DOC, we write submissions and complain about things and also try and suggest things and stuff and get in front of panels such as yourself and suggest different ways to facilitate and improve Taupo as a cycling destination. And last but not least, we'll put a toilet in Craters, which has solved a whole bunch of issues, very local to that area, and also just made again, improving the facilities that we can put in place for locals and visitors that ride alike. So that's totality of our presentation today. So that's what we've been up to. We've got more plans to keep on doing the same over the next 12 months. So happy to take any questions.
Any questions, Councillors? Councillor Williams.
Thanks, Rowan. How are the negotiations proceeding with regards to the land from Waihoro, or the trail from Waihoro round to Kawa Bay? Where will the track go there for the National Cycleway?
At this stage, we're not planning to connect to Kawa Bay. We do have plans to extend south from Waihora. But as I said, as you mentioned, they are going to be tacit on discussions with landowners, Māori landowners there. The vast majority of the track is currently built on public land, but there are definite options of expansion south and also over the hill to connect up to the timber track as well. One of the reasons why we're not anticipating in the short term connecting up to Kawa Bay is we think the idea of riding from State Highway and then getting a boat shuttle from Waihora or wherever back to Kinloch is got a lot of wins associated, especially in respect to creation of business, creation of a potential a regular water taxi service on the lake. That's one of the outcomes that we want the trail to have. What we're building at Waihora also lends itself to some potentially good day walks, so there could be families that go over to Waihora, have a walk, have a picnic, and potentially camp, and then come back later on the day or the next day on the shuttle. So we see some positive at the moment where boat access is the only access at that part of the trail. But we're always thinking about ways to expand, even ideas of coming back to Taupo from Kaipo. There's things that we're thinking about long term, but all of those involve going over private land, and we need to have those discussions with landowners.
With your Kids Bike Taupo program, do you go out to Mangakino Pouakani schools?
Haven't at the moment. It's normally done on an invitational basis. We do get out to Tongariro School in Turangi and Waitahanui, so we're not Taupo focused. More than happy to do that.
I suppose I'll say on behalf of Councillors Rowan, thanks very much for you and your team. Our bit of funding enables a group of passionate people like yourself and your team to make our community better. Not only that makes our community better, but makes it a better place for visitors to come and enjoy what special attributes that we've got here in our district. So thanks very much.
Are you moving the suggested resolution?
I'll move the suggested resolution, Mayor.
Second to Councillor Williams. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you very much for your presentation. Keep up the good work. Agenda item number 4, presentation from the Sports Advisory Council. I see we've got Mr. Callaghan there and Ms. Belfort. Welcome to you both. Well, don't worry about me. I've got the flu, so I could be anything. The air conditioner's not fixed yet. Okay, team, hand over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We gave you a report in our submission a couple of weeks ago. Now, what we sent in for today got in rather late, so I don't know that it's been distributed. But I'll start off with a couple of diagrams that we have made. Councillor Crate referred to our change of venue, which is up at Heckling Park. We're actually starting to move in there tomorrow. The diagram shows us, little red dot there, and the other sporting activities that are currently going on there. The other diagram is we've done a little bit of playing around with one of Allison's maps.
You're referring to these two bits at the
Park.
back of the paper, aren't you?
You have got them there.
You realise
Yep.
that, Councillor?
Okay, so we'll make it a bit clearer.
Should have them there.
Pages 18 and 19 they'll be
Put it there.
going on the numbers on the
Compliments. It's got this on the front. You all got one? I put them on your desk.
It was emailed.
Oh, do you know, hey, copy.
Yeah.
It was emailed to us.
I didn't print mine out.
Well,
Okay, page 18 and 19, yep.
I'd like to pass my thanks on to Tina for doing that at such short notice, getting it done for us. Yes, the second diagram is taken from a plan that Allison's got, and I think the hospice were talking before, so we've left them in there. We've left everything in there. This is a suggested plan only, but it shows what we think could be done on Spa Park as far as more sporting and other community activities could be placed there. So that's more or less in answer to Councillor Crate's questions that he had for us when we made our submission to the annual plan. Councillor Kirk had prompted us to seek naming sponsorship. She'll be happy to know that we have entered negotiations with an organisation for naming sponsorship. It's in the initial stages at the moment. It will go to head office and they'll have the final say, but we're hopeful of something happening there. The rest is going back to page 1, the covering letter, taking the opportunity and gratitude for our appreciation and that of the district sporting community for Council's ongoing support over a long period. Then we have the funding report. The Community Sports Fund benefited 58 individuals and 26 clubs and groups. And they are listed there, the individual recipients and the club recipients. We had 2 funding rounds for the club recipients because we had a fair bit left over from the first round. Following that is the report from Taupo Sports Services. They've listed our ladies that look after that program. They've listed everything that they've done over the past 12 months. And then we have the Taupo Kiwi Sport program, which is involved. It's a joint activity that we share with Sport Waikato. And Sue McLean acts as a coordinator for the Kiwi Sport officers to come into the schools, and she provides links between the schools and the clubs for the various sports involved. After that, we have, as we see our involvement with the various activities, all leading to the District Council. And the last one on there we have, the most recent addition is Destination Great Lake Taupo. Nick Reeder has come onto our committee, and we are currently organising a competition we're calling Dragon's Den to involve local sports in building up to events along the lines of the, not quite up to the Great Lake Cycle Challenge and Ironman perhaps, but encouraging sports to hold larger events in the town. So that's basically it, Mr. Mayor. We're open to questions now. Anybody would like to question us on anything?
Well, Ms. Belfort, Ms. Callum, thank you very much for your report to Council, and as you say, I'll open it up to my fellow councillors to ask you any questions, or as usual, congratulate you on your work in the community. Thank you. So, sorry? Yeah. So any questions or clarity from any councillors? Would it be none? I'm sure they won't mind me as the Mayor congratulating you and thanking you as usual for providing the services and encouraging the sport as you do in our district. Any encouragement to get our kids into sport and things like that is totally good move. You know, it's the old adage, get them off the streets, get that energy burning, and occasionally we get a real rising star out of it, like a Bevan Doherty. We won't all be Bevan Dohertys, but hey, we've all got, getting that opportunity is a great thing for our district to be proud of. So thank you very much for your hard work, and thank you for coming in today and presenting to us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, councillors.
Oh, sorry, I've got to move. Yeah. So Councillor Kirk, seconded Councillor Crate. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll have a